And this is the ABC 10 News Streamline, everything that you need to know in 10 minutes or less. And we are now in another week of the government shutdown, and millions of federal workers, they are going unpaid. Air traffic controllers are now warning that we could see even more delays and more flight cancellations in the coming days. The federal workers are facing more uncertainty of working without pay. The FAA is reporting controller shortages in cities all across the country.
Not knowing exactly how I'm going to have childcare for my kids or put gas in the car or pay the next mortgage payment adds a certain level of stress onto an already stressful profession. And there is some controversy at some major airports because some are refusing to play Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's video that blames Democrats for the shutdown. The White House has already fired more than 4,000 federal workers since the shutdown began. Now, President Trump is threatening to lay off even more and dismantle programs favored by Democrats. And while many workers are losing out, today is payday for U.S. service members. The White House is using reallocated funding to keep those checks flowing. ABC 10 News reporter Danny Miskold tells us how one nonprofit is trying to help troops in these times of uncertainty.
I think our military families feel a sense of relief.
This is Ashley Kamak, CEO of 0800, a nonprofit that helps transitioning military service members.
So our agencies have been answering the calls, answering the enrollment.
Hello, this is 0800.
She tells me until this recent news from President Trump, military members and their families had been looking into bank loans,
pulling hard credit to get non-interest bearing loans.
But Ashley says confirmation from the Defense Finance and Accounting System just came through.
They've received a notification within their MyPay tool.
Since the government shutdown started on October 1st, Ashley and her team have been helping more military families.
We all are seeing an uptake in the enrollments.
0800 also joined an emergency action group, and this group prepared for the government shutdown.
Financial crisis can mean a mental health crisis for some.
According to ABC News, the Department of War found $8 billion of unobligated research development testing and evaluation funds from last year to use for the October 15th paychecks. But Ashley tells me military members aren't out of the woods yet.
But there's an uncertainty of what will happen between now and the next pay period.
November 1st will be the next pay period.
We have a lot of active duty families who are thinking, how am I going to pay the rent?
Ashley says now is the time for renters to find out what their contingency plan is with their landlords. Danny Miskold, ABC 10 News.
And dozens of government workers in San Diego got some help with groceries as we enter day 15 of the shutdown. The San Diego Food Bank hosted a food distribution with its community partner, Operation Promise. They provided boxes full of food and also fresh produce. The food bank says 400,000 San Diegans rely on them each month. Our newest ABC 10 News Union Tribune poll asked registered voters if they approve of the job that Congress is doing in D.C. right now. 37% of registered voters said they strongly disapprove. 28% say they somewhat disapprove, and 24% say they somewhat approve or strongly approve.
Well, tensions are growing this morning in Chicago, where an immigration stop led to a chase and a crash on the east side. Homeland Security officials say an undocumented immigrant tried to drive away from agents in that SUV you see and then ran a Border Patrol vehicle. During the chase, agents crashed into the SUV to stop it. There's the crash. Two people ran. They were eventually arrested. Residents gathered at the scene, some throwing rocks or eggs at the agent. And that confrontation highlights the growing security risk for federal officers. The Department of Homeland Security now says Mexican drug cartels have put targeted bounties on ICE officers and other agents. The department says cartels are offering up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. Meanwhile, Los Angeles County has now declared a state of emergency over ICE raids. Since June, raids have prompted massive protests, some of which have become violent. The emergency declaration gives the government the power to fast-track relief funding for people impacted by the raids. That could include money for rent, legal fees, or other services.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says firepower is coming to Ukraine, with European nations paying for the U.S. weapons.
So our expectation today is that more countries donate even more, that they purchase even more to provide for Ukraine to bring that conflict to a peaceful conclusion.
The weapons will be purchased by European countries before being transferred to NATO for the fight in Ukraine. $2 billion has already been pledged to help buy the military equipment for Ukraine, and more is expected to be committed by NATO nations Wednesday. And breaking overnight, the Israeli government says one of the 4 bodies handed over by Hamas was not an Israeli hostage. Hamas is expected to return more remains today, as several dead hostages still remain in Gaza. The slow release of the remains has prompted Israeli authorities to cut or delay aid to Gaza.
A Florida mother says she was just trying to protect her daughter when a run-in with police turned violent. And the video of her arrest went viral. Police say this incident began when the mom, 39-year-old Erica McGriff, left her car running in an intersection. An officer asked her for her license. When McGriff refused, the officer tried to grab her. They say McGriff then punched the officer and bit him.
All I was trying to do was get my daughter out of school without getting wet, drenched in the rain.
The sheriff's office says the officer followed department policy. McGriff could now face up to 5 years in prison.
It's been nearly a week since this horrible accident at the Gelato 101 shop in Encinitas, and we have an update for you. The truck that ended up in the middle of the shop after the driver lost control is still in here. It's under a structural beam, and they're waiting for a lot of procedural things to clear up before someone can tow that truck out. I spoke to the managing owner today to see what they're going through.
We're talking about a couple of months in a very optimistic outcome, and I even heard estimates for 6 months.
David explained that some of his employees out of work are being paid for a short amount of time, and insurance is only covering portions of the cost to repair this accident. It's a huge financial burden to the locally owned shop, which is why they're raising money to help support employees and to help recover.
Even today, I was there this morning to check on things, and it's bad.
Remember how I said this is a community shop? Today I found out that David actually knows the parents of the boy who was hit. River Smith's mom owns a hair salon right down the street, and they frequent the shop and are good friends and have been for a long time.
I actually texted him today to ask what flavors of gelato should I bring.
Which brings me to the person being charged with a DUI causing bodily injury in connection with this accident. Edward John De La Torre is being accused of being intoxicated with alcohol and drugs at the time of the accident. If he's convicted, it could mean 6 years in state prison. Emily Coffey, ABC 10 News.
ABC 10 News has partnered with the Better Business Bureau to help you save money and avoid scams. Joe Ducey shows us how scammers are now targeting couples looking to tie the knot.
Your big day can cost big money, $34,000 on average, even more if you pay somebody and they don't show up. I'm Joe Ducey with the Better Business Bureau. It can happen, but here's how you 10 News viewers can protect yourself so you're not affected by it. Complaints are similar. I sent $3,000, she disappeared. Paid a $1,000 deposit, he ghosted us. No show on wedding day, lost $550. It could be a wedding photographer, planner, or makeup artist, a DJ, caterer, or dress shop. They demand payment up front and either don't show up or don't give you what you paid for. Like a dress one woman says arrived as a completely different dress and the wrong size. Protect yourself. Don't pay for everything before you get anything. 50% up front at most. Save 25% until the end. Use a credit card only. Demand a detailed contract, and maybe most important, check the business reviews and complaints online and at bbb.org. Bad reviews, pass. No reviews, no way. This is the sign for trusted, accredited businesses. Look for it when hiring. More on wedding scams at 10news.com, and I'll see you next time.
And that is your ABC 10 News Streamline. Everything you need to know today in under 10 minutes.